When was the last time you truly put yourself first without feeling guilty about it? Most people live their lives pouring their energy into everyone and everything else, only to look in the mirror years later and realize they've lost sight of who they are. We've been taught that focusing on ourselves is selfish, that our worth is measured by how much we give to others. But here's the truth. When you ignore your own growth, when you silence your own dreams, you don't just lose yourself. You lose the ability to show up fully for anyone at all. You are the only constant in your life. Friends, jobs, relationships, and opportunities will shift and change. Seasons will pass. People will come and go. But you, your mind, your spirit, your ambitions, will be with you until your last breath. And yet, so often, we put ourselves at the bottom of our own list. We push aside our goals to meet the demands of others. We abandon our passions because we are afraid of judgment. We accept less than we deserve because we don't believe we're worth more. It's time to change that. Focusing on yourself isn't about ignoring the world around you. It's about becoming so grounded, so clear, and so confident that the world can't shake you. When you pour into yourself, you start to radiate strength and purpose. You begin to attract opportunities instead of chasing them. People notice. They feel your presence before you even speak. And that's when the shift happens, when the focus you've built inward starts to turn outward, when others begin to see you the way you now see yourself. But this change doesn't happen by accident. It's built through deliberate, consistent choices. Choosing to wake up earlier so you have time for your mind. Choosing to say no to things that drain you. Choosing to invest in your skills, your health, your growth. It's not always easy. In fact, at first it might feel lonely. You might face resistance from those who are used to you giving without limits. But as you keep going, something powerful happens. You stop seeking approval. You stop needing permission. You realize you were never waiting for anyone else to believe in you. You were waiting for you. Stay here with me, because what we're about to explore will change how you see yourself forever. This is more than motivation. This is about reclaiming your life. By the end of this journey, you'll understand exactly how to focus on you, until the focus becomes you. Until your presence commands attention, not through force, but through the quiet, undeniable power of a person who knows their worth and lives it every day. This is your time. Let's begin. Every great transformation begins the moment you decide that your own life matters as much as the lives you've been serving. That decision is not made once. It is made daily, in small, often invisible ways. It is made when you choose to silence the noise of other people's expectations and listen to the quiet truth inside you. It is made when you refuse to shrink so that others can feel comfortable, and instead allow yourself to take up the space you were born to fill. This is the work that builds a life worth living, the work of turning inward, not to escape the world, but to rise above it. You have carried so many roles for so long that you may have forgotten who you are without them. The caregiver, the employee, the friend who always says yes, the partner who compromises until there's nothing left to give. These roles may have shaped you, but they are not the whole of you. Beneath them is the person you were before the world told you who you should be. That person is still here, waiting for you to remember, waiting for you to bring them back to life. When you begin to focus on yourself, you'll feel the pull of your old habits. You'll hear the echo of every voice that told you it was selfish to put yourself first. You'll notice the guilt rising when you say no, when you take time for yourself, when you dare to prioritize your own needs. But that guilt is nothing more than a signal that you're breaking patterns, and breaking patterns is the first step toward freedom. Focusing on yourself means giving yourself permission to grow without limits. It means you stop waiting for the right time, the right opportunity, the right support, and you start creating those things for yourself. It means understanding that no one is coming to save you because you were never meant to be saved. You were meant to be empowered. Every skill you build, every healthy boundary you set, every moment you spend nurturing your mind and body is a brick in the foundation of the life you deserve. And as that foundation strengthens, so will you. You'll stand taller. You'll speak with more certainty. You'll carry yourself with a quiet confidence that needs no explanation. People will sense it without you having to prove anything. That's the beauty of focusing on yourself. It transforms you from the inside out. It's not about changing to fit the world. It's about becoming so rooted in your own worth that the world adjusts to you. This is the path to becoming unshakable, not through force but through truth. The truth of knowing who you are, what you stand for, and where you're going. That truth is already within you. All that's left is for you to claim it, live it, and let it guide every step forward. The moment you stop chasing validation is the moment you begin to reclaim your power. For too long, your worth has been entangled in the opinions of others, in the subtle approval you seek without even realizing it. You've measured your value by how much you are liked, how much you are accepted, how much you fit into the mold someone else created. But when you break free from that need, when you choose to stand on your own belief in yourself, everything changes. You stop bending to fit spaces that were never meant for you, and instead, you build spaces where you belong entirely. Focusing on yourself is not about arrogance. It is about self-respect. It's about recognizing that the time you give away is the most valuable currency you have, and you will never get it back. Every moment you spend on things that drain you is a moment you could have invested in building your strength, your clarity, your purpose. When you understand this, you stop trading your peace for the temporary comfort of pleasing others. You begin to make choices that protect your energy because you finally see your energy as sacred. The deeper you go into this journey, the more you realize that your external world is a mirror of your internal state. When your mind is cluttered, your life feels chaotic. When your heart is neglected, your relationships suffer. But when you give yourself the attention you've been giving away for years, the shift is undeniable. You move differently. You speak differently. You no longer grasp for attention because you have become the source of your own stability. This is why focusing on yourself must become non-negotiable. It is the anchor that keeps you steady when life tries to pull you in every direction. It is the filter that helps you decide what deserves your time and what no longer has a place in your life. It is the quiet discipline of showing up for yourself, even when no one else notices, even when the results are not yet visible, even when doubt tries to creep in. There will be moments when the old version of you calls you back, when the temptation to compromise who you are feels easier than standing firm. But you will remember why you started. You will remember the emptiness you felt when you lived only for others, and you will choose yourself again. Because the more you choose yourself, the stronger you become. And then something powerful happens. You no longer simply focus on yourself. You become the focus. Not because you demand it, but because you embody it. You radiate the quiet strength of someone who knows their worth and lives it without apology. That is the kind of presence that shifts rooms, changes conversations, and inspires others to rise to their own potential. The world responds differently to a person who has claimed their own life. There is a depth in their presence, a weight to their words, and an energy that draws people without effort. This is not about being louder or more visible. It is about being undeniable. When you focus on yourself with discipline and intention, you no longer chase recognition, it finds you. Opportunities begin to align, not because of luck, but because you are aligned within yourself. You become magnetic, not in a way that seeks attention, but in a way that commands it naturally. The strength you build through self-focus is not just mental. It shapes the way you carry yourself, the way you protect your peace, and the way you move toward your vision. You stop reacting to every distraction, every opinion, every demand on your energy. Instead, you operate from clarity. You know what matters to you, and you make choices that reflect that knowledge. This clarity is rare, and when you have it, you realize how much of your past life was spent drifting in directions you never chose. There is a profound freedom in deciding that your life is yours alone. It frees you from comparison, because you no longer measure yourself against someone else's path. It frees you from the fear of missing out, because you know exactly where you're going. It frees you from the endless cycle of trying to be everything for everyone, because you understand you were never meant to be. Your role is to be fully, unapologetically yourself, and that role is more than enough. The more you protect this focus, the more the noise around you fades. Opinions that once shook you lose their power. Criticism that once cut deep becomes background static. Praise that once felt like oxygen becomes just another passing moment. You no longer live on the highs and lows of external approval. You live in the steady strength of self-respect. And in that space, you can see clearly. You can plan clearly. You can act decisively without second-guessing your worth. This is not a state you stumble into. It is one you build. Brick by brick, decision by decision. You create a foundation so strong that nothing external can destroy it. There will be challenges, and there will be moments when you feel tested. But those moments are not setbacks, they are proof of your growth. They show you how far you've come from the version of yourself who once bent and broke to keep others comfortable. And as you live from this place of strength, something shifts permanently. You stop needing to explain yourself. You stop trying to convince anyone of your value. You simply live it. You walk into every room, every situation, every challenge as the embodiment of your own focus, and the world cannot help but respond. This is what it means to truly become the focus. When you reach the point where your presence carries more weight than your words, you have stepped into a level of power most people will never experience. It is the power that comes from knowing exactly who you are and refusing to let the world dilute that truth. This kind of confidence is not loud or aggressive. It is quiet, steady, and unshakable. People feel it before they understand it. They recognize that you are not moved by trends, opinions, or the fleeting approval of the crowd. You are anchored, and that makes you rare. Focusing on yourself until the focus becomes you is not just about achievement. It is about transformation. It is about stripping away every false identity you have worn to survive, every role you have played to be accepted, and returning to the core of your being. At that core lies clarity. Clarity about what you stand for, what you will no longer tolerate, and what you are here to create. And when you operate from that clarity, you stop scattering your energy on things that do not move you forward. Every action becomes intentional. Every choice becomes an investment in your future self. The world is full of people who are busy but not fulfilled, active but not aligned. They are moving constantly, yet going nowhere that truly matters to them. You cannot afford to live like that. Your time is too precious, your potential too great. Focusing on yourself is how you escape that trap. It is how you ensure that every step you take is taking you somewhere worth going. It is how you protect yourself from becoming a reflection of everyone else's expectations instead of an expression of your own truth. This is where discipline becomes your greatest ally. Not the kind of discipline that feels like punishment, but the kind that feels like self-respect. It is the decision to keep your promises to yourself, even when it would be easier to quit. It is the choice to build habits that strengthen you, even when no one is watching. It is the refusal to let temporary comfort rob you of permanent growth. Discipline is how focus turns into transformation. And transformation is how you become the kind of person who no longer blends into the background of their own life. As you grow into this version of yourself, you begin to notice something extraordinary. You no longer seek the spotlight, yet it finds you. You no longer chase opportunities, yet they appear. You no longer fight for attention, yet you hold it effortlessly. This is the reward for choosing yourself without apology. You become a force, you become a standard, and without even trying, you become the focus. Not because the world decided it, but because you decided it first. True focus is not built in the moments when life feels easy. It is forged in the moments when distraction is loud and temptation is strong. It is in these moments that most people give away their attention, scattering it across things that will not matter in a week, a month, or a year. But when you decide that your focus is not for sale, you rise above the noise. You stop letting the urgency of the unimportant pull you away from the importance of your purpose. This is the discipline that separates the ones who drift from the ones who lead their own lives. Every time you choose to protect your focus, you are making a statement to yourself and to the world that your growth matters, that your dreams matter, that your vision is worth more than the comfort of distraction. You no longer wait for perfect conditions, because you understand they don't exist. You create conditions through your actions, through the way you structure your days, through the way you filter what gets your time and what does not. And in doing so, you reclaim hours, energy, and mental space that you once gave away freely. Focusing on yourself also means accepting that not everyone will understand your choices. Some will question why you're less available, why you've stopped entertaining what used to drain you, why you've stepped back from old patterns. That's because your growth will challenge the comfort zones of others, and you must let it. You are not here to keep people comfortable. You are here to become everything you were meant to be. As your focus sharpens, your awareness deepens. You start noticing the subtle ways you once sabotaged yourself, through overthinking, through hesitation, through waiting for permission. You see clearly that every delay was a choice, every excuse was a decision, every compromise was a step away from the life you wanted. And in that clarity, you take ownership. You stop blaming circumstances, and you start building regardless of them. The more you invest in this kind of focus, the more you begin to experience momentum. Progress compounds. Small daily wins become powerful shifts. What once felt like an impossible goal becomes a natural result of who you are becoming. This is the transformation most people never reach, not because they lack talent or opportunity, but because they never learn to direct their energy fully toward themselves. You have that power now. You can choose to pour your attention into the things that grow you, strengthen you, and move you forward. And when you do, the world will adjust to the strength of your focus. You will no longer be a background character in your own life. You will stand at the center, not because you demanded it, but because you earned it through relentless, unwavering commitment to yourself. When you master the art of focusing on yourself, you begin to understand that every choice you make is either building you or breaking you. There is no neutral ground. Every decision, every habit, every thought you allow to repeat is shaping the person you are becoming. This awareness changes how you move through life. You stop making decisions based on convenience and start making them based on alignment. You stop asking, "Is this easy?" and start asking, "Does this serve who I am becoming?" That shift alone is enough to change your entire trajectory. The discipline to choose what serves you requires strength, but it also creates strength. Each time you choose growth over comfort, you add another layer to your resilience. Each time you honor your own boundaries, you send a message to yourself that your time, energy, and dreams are worth protecting. This self-respect becomes unshakable. It becomes the force that keeps you moving even when motivation fades, because it's no longer about how you feel in the moment. It's about the standard you've set for yourself. The deeper you commit to this focus, the less tolerance you have for anything that takes you off course. You start seeing through distractions that once disguised themselves as opportunities. You recognize patterns that once trapped you in cycles of wasted time and emotional exhaustion. You stop negotiating your value and start living it without hesitation. And as you do, your life begins to organize itself around your priorities, instead of scattering itself around everyone else's demands. This is the point where transformation accelerates. Not because you are working harder, but because you are working with intention. Your actions carry more weight. Your decisions create bigger ripples. You are no longer trying to do everything. You are doing the right things, and that makes all the difference. People notice the change, but they won't always understand it. They will feel the distance you've created between your old patterns and your new direction, and some will mistake it for arrogance. But you will know the truth. It is focus, and focus feels foreign to those who have never experienced it. You will also begin to notice how much lighter life feels when you stop carrying what was never yours to carry. The weight of unnecessary obligations, the pressure of constant approval seeking, the endless distractions, they fall away when you no longer allow them a place in your life. In that space you find clarity, in that clarity you find power, and in that power you find the confidence to move boldly toward everything you were meant to create. When you reach this level of self-focus, you don't just live differently, you think differently, you decide differently, and you carry yourself differently. The noise of the world fades, the pull of distractions weakens, and all that remains is a clear path forward. And on that path, every step is yours. Every victory is earned, and every moment is a reflection of the life you chose to build. The more you commit to focusing on yourself, the more you realize that this journey is not just about reaching goals, it's about becoming the kind of person who can sustain them. Success without a strong foundation will crumble, but when you build yourself from the inside out, what you create will last. This is why your inner work must come before everything else. Your mindset, your discipline, your emotional strength, these are the roots that will hold you steady when life tests you. Without them, every achievement will feel fragile. With them, you become unshakable. Every day is a choice between drifting and directing. Drifting happens when you let circumstances decide your path. Directing happens when you decide your path and shape your circumstances to match it. Focusing on yourself is the constant practice of choosing direction over drift. It is waking up each day with the intention to act in ways that align with the life you are building. It is understanding that even small actions, when repeated with consistency, become unstoppable momentum. As you refine this focus, you stop chasing quick wins that fade as fast as they come. You understand the value of patience, the power of compounding effort, and the strength that comes from delayed gratification. You no longer measure progress by how fast you move, but by how much stronger, wiser, and more aligned you become along the way. This shift frees you from the pressure of rushing and anchors you in the power of steady, deliberate growth. You will notice that the noise around you begins to lose its grip. The comparisons that once made you doubt yourself no longer carry weight. The distractions that once felt urgent reveal themselves as meaningless. The opinions that once dictated your actions fade into the background. You no longer move through life reacting. You move with intention. You choose what deserves your attention and what does not, and that choice shapes everything. With this level of focus, you begin to feel a deep sense of control, not over everything that happens to you, but over how you respond. That control is freedom. It allows you to face challenges without losing yourself. It gives you the strength to adapt without abandoning your values. It allows you to remain centered even when everything around you feels uncertain. This is the kind of power that cannot be given to you by anyone else. You have to build it for yourself, and when you do, the world begins to shift in ways that seem almost effortless. You attract the right opportunities, connect with the right people, and find yourself in the right places, not because of chance, but because your focus has shaped your reality. You are no longer chasing, you are becoming. And in becoming, you have already stepped into the life you once only imagined. When your focus becomes unshakable, you begin to understand that the greatest victories happen long before the world sees them. They are won in private, in the quiet hours where no one is watching, in the choices you make when no one will know if you follow through or not. This is where character is built. This is where self-trust is formed. Every time you honor the commitments you make to yourself, you strengthen the bond between who you are and who you are becoming. And when that bond is strong, you no longer doubt your ability to handle what's ahead. Focusing on yourself until the focus is you means mastering the art of self-governance. You no longer wait for someone to push you forward. You push yourself. You no longer depend on the motivation of the moment. You rely on the discipline of your vision. You hold yourself accountable, not out of fear, but out of respect for the life you are building. That level of responsibility is rare, and it's what sets apart those who live intentionally from those who drift endlessly. The truth is, life will test your focus. It will throw distractions dressed as opportunities, challenges designed to shake your belief, and moments where quitting seems easier than continuing. But if your focus is built on clarity and self-respect, those moments will not derail you. They will refine you. Each challenge becomes a sharpening stone, making you stronger, clearer, and more determined than before. As your inner strength grows, so does your ability to remain still in the midst of chaos. You stop reacting to everything that happens around you and start responding with purpose. You stop chasing what is fleeting and start building what is lasting. This kind of stillness is not weakness, it is power under control. It is knowing you don't have to prove anything to anyone because you are already living proof of your own commitment. With this mindset, you naturally rise above the noise. People begin to look at you differently, not because you asked for attention, but because your focus has elevated you. Your energy changes. Your presence feels different. You are no longer trying to fit into places that never matched your vision. You are creating your own space and inviting the right things into it. This is what happens when you consistently choose yourself. Your life becomes a reflection of your standards, your relationships, your opportunities, your daily environment. All of it begins to align with the person you have decided to be. And in that alignment, there is peace. Not the fragile peace that disappears when circumstances change, but the kind that stays because it comes from within. That is the reward of true focus. It is not just about being seen. It is about becoming someone so clear, so steady, so rooted in purpose, that the world cannot help but notice. When you live with this level of focus, you stop operating on the surface and start moving from depth. You no longer make decisions to simply get through the day. You make decisions that shape the future you are building. Every action is intentional. Every choice is a reflection of your values. You understand that the smallest step in the right direction carries more weight than the grandest intention left unfulfilled. This awareness keeps you aligned, even when life tries to pull you into distraction. Focusing on yourself at this depth means you have stepped into full ownership of your life. You no longer outsource your happiness to circumstances, people, or luck. You claim responsibility for your progress, your mindset, and your results. This is where personal power multiplies. When you stop waiting for the world to hand you opportunities and start creating them through your own effort and persistence, you become unstoppable, not because obstacles disappear, but because your commitment refuses to break. The clarity you gain from this kind of focus is unlike anything else. You can see what matters and what doesn't. You can feel the difference between what is aligned with your vision and what is simply noise. This clarity is what allows you to say no without guilt, to walk away without hesitation, and to invest your time and energy only where it truly counts. You understand that every yes you give to something that drains you is a no to the life you are building, and you will no longer make that trade. With time, this focus changes the way you view challenges. You stop seeing them as interruptions and start seeing them as invitations to grow stronger. You welcome the lessons they bring, knowing each one sharpens your resilience. Even when the path feels steep, you keep moving, because you trust yourself to navigate it. And in that trust you find freedom. Freedom from the fear of failure, freedom from the weight of uncertainty, freedom from the need to control everything before you act. You also begin to notice how this focus radiates outward. The strength you build within yourself becomes visible in your posture, your tone, and your presence. You influence without forcing, inspire without trying, and lead without asking for permission. People are drawn to the certainty you carry, because certainty is rare in a world full of doubt. This is why the focus must remain on you until the focus is you, not because you crave recognition, but because you understand that the life you want can only be built by the person you are becoming. And when you fully become that person, disciplined, aligned, unshakable, the results will speak for themselves. You won't have to chase them. They will find you, because you have become the kind of person who naturally attracts what they have worked for, lived for, and refused to compromise on. When you reach the point where your focus is unwavering, you realize that the real transformation was never about what you gained, It was about what you let go of. You released the need for constant validation. You released the patterns that kept you small. You released the belief that you must explain or justify your path to anyone. This freedom is not loud or boastful. It is calm, steady, and deeply grounded. You move differently because you are no longer weighed down by the things that once held you back. This is the moment where focus turns into identity. You are no longer someone trying to become disciplined. You are disciplined. You are no longer someone trying to build confidence. You are confident. You are no longer someone searching for clarity. You are clear. And because these qualities are no longer something you chase but something you live, they cannot be taken from you. They are embedded into the way you think, act, and show up every single day. The shift is subtle at first. You notice that you no longer react to situations that would have once consumed your energy. You see yourself choosing peace over pointless battles. You find that your attention naturally flows toward what matters, without the constant struggle to resist distractions. This is the reward of consistent self-focus. It stops being a fight and starts being your natural way of living. From this place, your decisions become sharper. You no longer ask if something is possible. You ask if it is aligned. You no longer chase opportunities blindly. You evaluate whether they match the standards you've set. You are no longer afraid of missing out, because you understand that what is meant for you will never require you to abandon yourself to have it. This kind of clarity makes you both patient and relentless. Patient in the timing, relentless in the pursuit. Your presence begins to shift the energy of the spaces you enter. Not because you are trying to impress anyone, but because people can feel the difference in you. They can sense the strength in your stillness, the certainty in your decisions, and the conviction in your actions. You are not here to prove yourself. You are here to live fully as yourself, and that authenticity is magnetic in a way that effort can never replicate. This is why you continue to protect your focus with everything you have, because it is no longer just about achieving goals. It is about maintaining the life you have built and the person you have become. The results you see on the outside are simply reflections of the work you have done on the inside. And when the inside is strong, the outside will always follow. This is the unshakable truth of living with unwavering focus. You no longer chase the life you want. You embody it. When you live in full alignment with your focus, life begins to feel lighter, not because it has become easier, but because you are no longer carrying what was never yours. You stop dragging the weight of other people's expectations. You stop holding on to past mistakes as if they define you. You stop letting the opinions of those who do not walk your path dictate the steps you take. This release is powerful because it clears the space for what truly matters. You no longer operate from a place of proving. You operate from a place of being. With this freedom comes an unshakable calm. You trust yourself in a way you never have before. You no longer feel the need to constantly check if you're on the right path, because you know you are. Even when you face uncertainty, you remain steady, because your focus is anchored in your values, your discipline, and your vision. That steadiness becomes a quiet form of strength that others can see and feel. It's the kind of strength that can't be faked, because it's built on years of choosing yourself even when it was hard. This kind of focus also shifts your relationship with time. You stop wasting it on things that don't matter, and you start honoring it as the most valuable resource you have. You stop rushing to meet someone else's idea of success, and instead, you move at the pace that allows you to grow in depth, not just in speed. You understand that the goal is not simply to get somewhere quickly. It is to arrive fully prepared, fully capable, and fully yourself. You begin to recognize that focus is not just about saying yes to the right things. It's about saying no to everything that does not align. This is where many people struggle. But you have learned that every no you give to distractions is a yes to your own evolution. You understand that the discipline to protect your attention is the very thing that will separate you from the masses who scatter theirs. As your focus deepens, the vision you have for your life becomes clearer. It is no longer just an idea. It becomes a reality you are actively building every single day. You see evidence of it in the habits you've formed, the boundaries you've set, and the way you carry yourself. You are no longer waiting for the perfect moment. You are creating it through consistent, intentional action. And this is the truth that sustains you. You have become the person who can be trusted with the life you desire, not because you wished for it, but because you built yourself to handle it. The focus you once had to fight for has now become your natural state. It is who you are. And because it is who you are, nothing and no one can take it from you. This is the ultimate freedom. When you reach this state, your energy no longer leaks into things that weaken you. You stop feeding doubts with your attention. You stop negotiating with excuses. You stop explaining your decisions to those who are not committed to understanding them. Every choice you make becomes an act of self-respect, and every step you take reinforces the truth that you are fully in control of where your life is heading. This control is not about forcing outcomes. It is about mastering yourself so deeply that external chaos cannot disturb your internal direction. The more you protect your focus, the more you notice a shift in how you experience challenges. They no longer feel like walls meant to keep you out. They feel like doors meant to be opened by those who have prepared for them. You stop seeing obstacles as a sign to turn back and start seeing them as a test of your readiness. This mindset transforms struggle into fuel. Every difficulty becomes another chance to prove to yourself that nothing can truly stop you unless you surrender. Your confidence grows, not from arrogance, but from evidence. You have shown yourself what you can endure, what you can overcome, and what you can create from nothing. You no longer rely on motivation to move forward. You operate on discipline and clarity. Even on days when you feel empty, you still move, because you know the cost of standing still is far greater than the discomfort of progress. This level of commitment changes everything. It strips away the illusion that you need ideal conditions to grow. You know now that growth happens precisely because you continue despite the imperfections. You become immune to the noise. The distractions that once tempted you lose their grip. You stop reacting to every small pull on your attention, and instead, you stay locked onto the vision you've chosen. The outside world may still shout, but inside you remain silent and certain. This silence is not weakness. It is strength disguised as stillness. It is the ability to stand in your own presence without needing anything else to confirm your worth. Each day lived in this alignment builds a momentum that is impossible to fake. You start to notice that the distance between who you are and who you aim to be is closing rapidly. Your actions are no longer scattered, they are precise. Your thoughts are no longer clouded, they are intentional. The gap between vision and reality is now only a matter of time, and you can feel that time working in your favor. This is the transformation that few will ever reach, not because it is impossible, but because it requires the courage to cut away everything that does not serve your highest self. You have done that. You have chosen the narrow road, and now nothing will pull you from it, because this path is no longer something you follow. It is who you are. When your focus becomes who you are, you start to see the world through a different lens. The distractions that once pulled you away now fade into the background, almost invisible compared to the clarity burning inside. You become deeply aware that every moment spent scattered is a moment lost to a vision only you can create. This awareness sharpens your instincts. You no longer entertain unnecessary doubts or questions. You act with conviction because your focus is rooted in something far bigger than fleeting emotions or external approval. Your mind becomes your greatest ally. Instead of a battlefield of conflicting thoughts, it transforms into a tool of precision and power. You notice how thoughts that once paralyzed you now serve you, motivating action, encouraging patience, and building resilience. You understand that the quality of your thoughts determines the quality of your life, and so you become vigilant about what you allow in. You guard your mental space as fiercely as you protect your time, knowing that clarity begins here. This clarity brings with it a profound sense of peace. The chaos outside may rage on, but inside, you have built a sanctuary of calm. This peace isn't passive, it's active strength. It means you can withstand criticism, setbacks, and uncertainty without losing your center. When life tests you, this inner calm is the foundation that keeps you moving forward. It prevents you from slipping into self-doubt or distraction because you are anchored in the truth of your own focus. The focus on yourself is not selfish. It is the most generous act you can offer to the world. When you are fully present, disciplined, and aligned, you create energy that uplifts everything and everyone around you. You become a force of inspiration, not by trying to impress, but by simply being real and committed. Your dedication to your own growth sends a powerful message. Transformation is possible, and it begins with choosing yourself over everything that dilutes your potential. This commitment to yourself becomes a ripple effect. Every boundary you set, every yes you say to your vision, every moment you reclaim from distraction adds up. It multiplies. You start to notice opportunities appearing where before there was only uncertainty. Doors open because you've prepared yourself to walk through them. Connections deepen because you've learned to show up authentically. Success follows not because it was handed to you, but because you earned it through relentless focus and inner strength. Understanding this changes the way you live daily. You stop seeking shortcuts or quick fixes. You stop blaming external factors for lack of progress. Instead, you take radical responsibility for your actions and results. This mindset shift is the catalyst for real, lasting change. It means that no matter what happens, you are the constant, the one who steers the ship with unwavering eyes on the horizon. This is what it means to focus on you until the focus is you. It is not a destination, it is a transformation. It is the journey of becoming the person who commands their own life with courage, clarity, and conviction. And when you live this way, nothing can stop the momentum you build, because it flows from a source deeper than circumstance or chance. It flows from the unbreakable power of your focused self. Your focus is not just a tool, it is the foundation of your identity. When you commit to yourself fully, you begin to rewrite the story you've told yourself for years, the story that may have been filled with doubt, hesitation, or the weight of others' expectations. This new narrative is one of clarity, purpose, and relentless dedication to growth. It strips away anything that does not serve your highest potential and replaces it with habits that build strength, resilience, and self-respect. Every moment you invest in protecting your focus pays dividends beyond measure. You no longer waste time trying to please everyone or fit into molds designed for others. Instead, you channel your energy into becoming the person you've always needed. This shift is radical because it frees you from the invisible chains of external validation. You begin to stand tall, not because you want applause, but because you have earned your own respect. This internal respect becomes the armor that shields you against doubt and distraction. As your focus sharpens, you develop an unbreakable trust in yourself. This trust is a quiet power. It doesn't shout, but it commands. It lets you face the unknown with confidence, knowing that whatever happens, you have what it takes to adapt and overcome. This trust rewires your brain, making fear less paralyzing and courage more natural. It changes how you see challenges, not as threats, but as opportunities to prove your strength and deepen your commitment. You also begin to understand that your focus is a gift to those who depend on you. When you show up fully for yourself, you show up fully for others. You become a source of stability and inspiration, not through perfection but through authenticity and perseverance. This is where your personal transformation becomes contagious. People around you start to notice the shift. They feel the energy of someone who is no longer fragmented, but whole. This holistic focus means you prioritize what truly matters. You learn to say no without guilt, to set boundaries that protect your energy, and to let go of what no longer serves your growth. Every boundary you set is a declaration that you value yourself enough to protect your path. This clarity makes decisions easier because you measure every choice against your vision, not external pressures. You become mindful of your thoughts and emotions, recognizing their power over your focus. You learn to redirect negative patterns before they take hold, replacing them with affirmations of strength and possibility. This mental discipline becomes a cornerstone of your daily routine, allowing you to sustain momentum even when external circumstances are tough. At this stage, your life begins to reflect your inner transformation. Opportunities come, not because you chase them, but because your focused energy attracts them. Your actions become more intentional, your progress more consistent, and your vision clearer. You realize that focusing on yourself until the focus is you is not selfish. It is the most selfless act you can do, because it creates a ripple effect of positive change around you. This realization fuels your drive. You are no longer scattered or unsure. You are aligned, powerful, and ready to claim everything you were meant to have. The power of your focus is now undeniable. It is your truth, your path, your destiny unfolding with every breath you take. This level of focus demands sacrifice, but it is a sacrifice unlike any other. It is the conscious choice to reject distraction, to walk away from comfort, and to embrace the discomfort that comes with growth. You come to understand that growth is not a gentle process. It is a necessary storm that reshapes you from within. You learn to welcome this storm because it carries the seeds of your transformation. Instead of fearing what you must give up, you focus on what you will gain, a life defined not by chance, but by deliberate intention and powerful action. Each sacrifice sharpens your resolve. You begin to see that every no you say to distractions is a yes to your future self. When you guard your time fiercely, you protect your dreams fiercely. When you prioritize your well-being, you honor the vessel that carries your vision forward. This is not about deprivation. It is about clarity, cutting away the noise to reveal the path that only you can walk. The moment you embrace sacrifice as a tool rather than a burden, your mindset shifts dramatically. You stop viewing setbacks as failures and start viewing them as signposts directing you toward growth. You understand that discomfort is not the enemy, but a signal that you are stretching beyond old limits and stepping into new potential. This understanding empowers you to move through resistance rather than around it, knowing that true progress requires this confrontation with discomfort. Your focus, once fragile and easily broken, becomes a fortress built on discipline and self-awareness. This fortress doesn't isolate you, it protects you. It allows you to stay connected to your deepest goals without being pulled off course by fleeting doubts or external noise. Inside this fortress, Your confidence grows naturally because it is grounded in consistent, purposeful effort. You no longer wait for motivation to strike. You create it daily through action. In this space, your perception of time changes. You see each day as an opportunity to invest in your future, understanding that the compound effect of small, focused actions is unstoppable. You stop procrastinating because you realize that every moment spent waiting is a moment lost forever. Your urgency is not panic. It is a calm, steady force born from the realization that your potential is too precious to waste. This shift influences every part of your life. Your relationships, your work, your habits, all align with your new standard of focus. You reject anything that compromises your progress, even if it means standing alone for a time. You accept solitude as a companion on the path to greatness because you know that true connection begins with being whole within yourself. When your focus is this strong, fear loses its power. Fear cannot thrive in the presence of clarity and purpose. You learn to use fear as a compass, not a barrier, allowing it to guide you toward what matters most instead of holding you back. This courage deepens your connection to yourself, reinforcing the belief that you are the author of your story, no matter the challenges you face. Every day you commit to this path, your transformation accelerates. You become the person who doesn't just dream, but takes relentless action. You become unstoppable because your focus is not just on achieving goals, it is on becoming the focused person you need to be to sustain those achievements. This is the true power of focusing on you until the focus is you. To truly focus on yourself until the focus becomes you requires embracing radical honesty with your own mind. This means confronting the truths that are uncomfortable, facing the habits that hold you back, and acknowledging the fears that whisper lies in your ear. It is an act of bravery to look inward without flinching, to hold up the mirror and see not just who you want to be, but who you are right now. This clarity, though often painful at first, is the soil from which real growth springs. When you are honest with yourself, you stop running from your weaknesses and start working with them. This honesty is not a judgment. It is a deep compassion for yourself as a work in progress. You recognize that transformation is messy and nonlinear, and you give yourself permission to stumble without surrendering. This self-compassion fuels persistence. It softens the harsh inner critic and replaces it with a voice that encourages, pushes, and guides you toward action. You realize that the battle is not with external forces, but with the stories you tell yourself. Changing those stories rewires your mind, making resilience the new default. When you embrace this honesty, you start to see how your focus has been diluted by distractions disguised as obligations or comforts. The social noise, the endless comparisons, the urge to please others, these forces have chipped away at your attention and your confidence. Breaking free from this requires a fierce commitment to reclaim your mental space. You become vigilant about what you allow in, thoughts, conversations, and influences, and how they align with your goals. This vigilance becomes a daily practice of mental hygiene. Just as you cleanse your body, you cleanse your mind. You filter out negativity and reinforce positivity. You cultivate habits that nurture your focus, meditation, reflection, prioritization, and setting clear intentions. These practices become the anchors that keep you steady when external storms threaten to pull you under. As your mental space clears, your energy multiplies. You no longer expend precious resources on worry or doubt. Instead, you redirect that energy toward building, creating, and evolving. Your focus sharpens like a laser, capable of cutting through obstacles that once seemed insurmountable. This focused energy attracts opportunities and connections aligned with your vision, creating momentum that propels you forward. This momentum is both exhilarating and humbling. It reminds you that transformation is a journey without shortcuts. Each day demands your presence and your commitment, but the rewards are profound. You begin to feel the power of your focused mind in every decision, every action, and every moment of stillness. This power is not just about achieving goals, it is about becoming the person capable of sustaining success, joy, and fulfillment. In this space, you reclaim control over your story. No longer a passenger in your life, you become the driver. You steer with purpose, navigating challenges with resilience and grace. You become adept at adjusting your course without losing sight of your destination. This mastery over your focus is the foundation of true freedom. Freedom from distraction, fear, and doubt. The decision to focus on you until the focus is you is the most profound investment you can make. It transforms not just what you do, but who you are at your core. It awakens the dormant power within, waiting patiently for you to claim it. This power changes everything: your mindset, your habits, your relationships, and ultimately, your destiny.